Hey everyone, I'm Steve. Welcome back to Kettle Haven Ranch. In this video, we're going to look at what I think is the most important item, or most usable, versatile item for attaching to my tractor. That goes on the loader. That would be the forks. The pallet forks are amazing what you can do with them. You can see right here I have a tote full of, actually this is sheep food here. But you can have your seed in it, you can have fertilizer, dry fertilizer in it, just about anything. If you can put it in the tote bag, you can go ahead and carry it around. This is 1,000 pounds of feed right here, and we have no problem at all moving it easily with the big tractor. Next to me, I have an IBC tote. This is for liquids. You have fertilizer, chemicals, water. I use them for water here, so I get a water-based cleanable tote that's been used for something other than a chemical. And you can find those. It's pretty easy to do. They're relatively inexpensive, and it gives me a peace of mind if I have a section of the irrigation go out and I need to water animals. I can go ahead and go right to the well if I need to, bring water out of that frost-free, fill it up, and then haul it out to where I have to go. That one I can only do about 100 gallons with the little tractor, but I can pretty much fill it up with the big tractor, and makes quick work of filling water troughs, which is nice. In addition to using the forks for these items, you can use it the traditional way. You have your pallet on top of it, and you can load up fencing equipment, feed items, bags of feed, anything like that, tools, whatever, to move around the ranch. Makes that real handy. Also, stacking hay bales. We can put small squares on it. You can move a large square with it. And I've even used it to move rounds, large rounds. You can either fork it, or you can go ahead and just lift it traditionally. For the small tractor, you have two choices. Either a skid loader mounted mount that goes on the front of the loader, or you can go with the clamp-ons, and I'll put a picture up here. Originally, I was just going to put pictures up of the clamp-ons, but the clamp-on forks, they really need some time of their own to talk about. Number one, they're heavy. If you get a good set, they're going to be very heavy. The set that I have here is probably close to 100 pounds, actually more than 100 pounds. I'll have to look it up. Both of these forks will handle the same load. The difference is the skid steer mounted forks are solid and they have the proper tempering, whereas the clamp on, they're hollow, so they're a little bit heavier to get the same strength out of them. They're definitely heavier picking up. Wow, very heavy item here. You got to be careful, especially if you have a bad back like I do. But it's a clamp on. The idea is on the lip of the bucket, this is going to slide on and clamp on. I'm going to show that to you. I'll demonstrate here. I'll move the camera in a second. But the issues I have with it is staying fixed on the actual bucket. It can actually spin and move side to side. Once again, I'll show that. They do make an item that attaches the two together to stabilize it. I broke mine and re-welded it and broke it again. So, not saying much about my welding skills. It just is not a good design, if you ask me. I like the skid steer mounted much better. So, as you can see, this one does have about the same reach. By the time you take off this, you're going to come down here. It's about the same. So when you look at this clamp on, obviously it has a handle here for the clamping. It has a little round portion here that the lip of the bucket's supposed to wedge into, and then you clamp it on. It also has a riser here. I don't know if I can tilt this. You guys can see that. That riser is for the 2x4s. You can sit 2x4s in so you have a backstop for your cargo or payload. Hey, while we're over here, before I move the camera, I want you to take a look at the difference in length from the pivot point, we talked about that in an earlier video, to the lift point here. It's not much. It's maybe 10 inches, 8 to 10 inches from the pivot point to where you're going to be under the load and lifting up. That's important because I'll show you the difference over here on the big tractor with the bucket. Let's move over there. So this really shows you what I'm talking about with the difference. It's really a waste to have a fork on the lip of a bucket unless it's their only alternative. Your pivot point here is right here. This is where the strength, the most power you can get out of your lift is going to come from this point right here. The further you get away from here, which we're easily going to be out 2 feet, you're losing your ability to lift. Your breakout force is going to be diminished. The torque from having that weight all the way out at the very end is really going to affect your ability to move anything in lift. So once again, having the skid steer mount on there, it's right here. It's 8-10 inches away and you're lifting from that point. Much stronger. I also talked about having the forks twist, and let's do a demo on that. I still got to reposition. Here we go. First off, one of the issues is getting your spacing right. With the skid steer forks, you can slide those back and forth across. It's real easy. They won't twist in, they won't twist out. They will always stay parallel to each other. That's really nice and important. You don't get the same thing with the clamp-ons. The clamp-ons, you're really challenged if you have rock teeth mounted on your bucket. I do. I love my rock teeth. That's the only way to go if you ask me. But then again, I don't scrape stuff off of concrete floors, stuff like that. So that's a great thing. You have to get your forks between the rock teeth. You have to get the forks all the way on so the clamp is on the inside of the rock teeth. That's another problem. And then you always run the risk of having your forks twist on you or slide out of alignment. No matter how hard you clamp that thing on, no matter how many breaker bars you use, it can still slide. And it's really a pain. It can be dangerous also. Now, your clamping system, that reminds me, if you use a breaker bar or you use a cheater bar or a 6-foot pipe, whichever you have handy, to get these clamped on really hard, you're deforming the bottom of the clamp. The clamp actually will mushroom out as you squish it on, as these have. I can't take these clamps apart for maintenance anymore, not without risking the threads inside the forks themselves. As you can see, I'd welded on some of these supports you can get. They hook together. They're supposed to keep it from twisting. It doesn't matter. I wish I had them on there. I had both of them set up. The one actually broke. There's just too much torque in the system, and this cheap little metal they use on these, it can't handle it. It twists right out. So save your money there. Hey, as usual, if you like our content, you find value with it, please like and subscribe, hit that notification bell. And we got a bunch more stuff coming up. I got a real backlog. I got to get into the shop, get the CNC machine going, and get ready for bees coming in the spring. Everyone stay healthy. Take care. Talk to you later.